Yo, welcome back. Welcome back to the Four Wide Fantasy Football Podcast. Here we are yet again. Thanks for being a part of our huddle. Episode 14. Episode 14, guys. Crazy to think. We've been doing this. We're almost done with the football season. Your co-hosts, Matt, Shed, Olu, and Will. We are back yet again. Week 14 recap. Week 15 preview. Quarterbacks are dropping like they're catching a virus. And apparently Bill Belichick may be out the door. We don't know. There's a rumor.
Get him out.
Here we are yet again, guys. Welcome back to the Four Wide Fantasy Football Podcast. We're so glad to share our football takes with you. 1 minute of shine. Shed, welcome our listeners, man. You're up.
All right, welcome. All right, so let's start about this. The Cowboys' dominance is just unreal. Honestly, I'm not surprised by the beatdown the Cowboys gave the Eagles this past week. Like, you can kind of see it coming based on how both teams were playing, right? Eagles have looked convincingly, have not looked convincing in their wins, but they're winning. But they're putting wins together with duct tape, chewing gum, but they were getting a win, but they weren't convincing. And like I said a couple weeks ago in our podcast, Cowboys are NFC-bound championship team. But after this past week with the Eagles, and shall I say a very convincing win, I'm going to predict that and raise you one and say Cowboys are now Super Bowl bound moving forward.
Oh, wow.
They have an MVP candidate quarterback. They have an all-pro wide receiver, offensive line playing well, 2 potential defensive player of the year. If this is the Cowboys are going to see moving forward, dominant defense, explosive offense, they're capable of beating any team, yes, even the 49ers.
Oh, my gosh.
But they are the Cowboys, which means as soon as they get close to winning, they break out in hives or something like that. They're allergic to winning, man.
Yeah, okay, I got to say this. Like, I know Gilmore shut down A.J. Brown, which is cool. And I love Gilmore. He's one of my, I love one of my favorite players. But Debo is not A.J. Brown, FYI. So that actually shows you the whole team. 49ers are different beasts. They're physical. So, wow. Okay, I can't wait to see this.
1 minute of shine, Olu.
Okay, I have 2 things to say. So the first one is the Broncos. The Broncos are the little engine that could. Okay, so and I feel like they will somehow sneak into the playoffs. And when they're in the playoffs, you don't want to see the Broncos in the playoffs. And I really hope the wild card round, the Broncos and the Chiefs, they are not a team I want to see. Secondly, guys, we are one of the best news ever we've heard in the last 4 years. Bill Belichick, this is confirmed. This will be his last season. It's such an amazing, joyful news to me. The Patriots get the number 2 overall pick, and they get a new coach, possibly a good offensive coach to develop the young quarterback. And Bill Belichick, I don't know, he's going to go hang out on his boat somewhere called the 6 Rings or whatever. Yeah, just a great day. Because we all know Belichick without Brady is a losing coach. And he's always been a bad GM whom Brady has covered his deficiency. And at last, but Robert Kraft has finally seen the light and is ready to move the Patriots to a new winning direction. Let's go.
So if the go ahead, Will.
I'm just saying, okay, this is a rare moment where I have 100% agreement with Olu. Because it's true. No, it's just we have enough of a sample size now that Bill Belichick without Brady has not been a winning coach. It's actually just it's a fact. And now for the Patriots, they'll get a new head coach and they'll finally have a proper general manager who can draft with that top 3 draft pick. So finally, it's going to be some new life for the Pats, which I hate that as being a Titans fan for the rest of the NFL. I hate it, but it's good for the Pats.
If the Patriots don't win more than 6 games a season for the next 3 seasons, then what? Then what's the issue?
Thank you.
Then it's Robert Kraft. He's the only common denominator.
Because this is typical. This is typical to see an organization fire a coach. Try to find somebody. Finding a head coach in the NFL is not easy.
Yeah,
exactly.
There are a lot of bums out there who are not leaders of men. Bro, the Giants went from Coughlin to McAdoo to Shermer to Judge, and finally we have what's my man? stinking
Dable. Brian Dable is good. He's
Brian
an
Dable.
improvement on those guys.
COVID brain, sorry. Yeah, so it's like finding a head coach. Mike Tomlins aren't just looking for jobs. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you can fire Belichick and then you'll hire a Joe Judge. Like, there's no guarantee. Anyways, y'all want to talk about that though?
Yeah, this is okay. All right, let me go up. What you fail to realize is that prior to Belichick, the Patriots. You can remember the Patriots were horrible.
They were bad,
they were a bad team. Like, I get it. The team hasn't been doing well, but also at the same time, like, you have to give them a better quarterback, a better situation. The defense is playing really, really well. Like, the Patriots have been so accustomed to winning Super Bowls and championships that, like, if you're not winning, they're going to fight. They almost remind me of what the Yankees, right? The Yankees, if you're 500, barely make the playoffs, if you don't win a World Series, they're going to fire you. And I feel like that's overreaction personally. Go ahead, Olu.
All right, let me just end it because this is my shine. I'm going to end it with this. Belichick is a bad coach. The first year Belichick got on the team, he was, okay, let's start. Let's go all the way back. He was a losing coach with the Browns. He was a losing coach.
Along with everyone who's coached the Browns.
Well, I'm talking about him at this time. He's a losing coach. He got fired, right? Came to New England and was 5-11. So he was 5-11. And then he struck pot of gold in Brady. And then when Brady finally took the reins, then they won a Super Bowl. If a losing coach wins a Super Bowl, all of a sudden, most likely it's not him, right? And you went from losing coach to be the most winningest coach ever. Then as soon as the pot of gold you struck, you tossed it out the window, you reverted back to being a losing coach 4 years in a row again, with maybe one stint of, they made the playoffs and got blown out. Now you revert back to being a losing coach. Then the common denominator wasn't you. It was your quarterback. Because your quarterback comes in, you win Super Bowls. Quarterback leaves, you can't losing coach. And that same quarterback goes somewhere else and continues to win Super Bowl. It's not him. It's literally just math. I know we love to put our emotions involved, but let's just take it as math. Let's be analytical in this. It's simple.
All right, my only devil's advocate. I know this is like our 5 minutes of shine on Belichick, or it's not shine on him. It's dumping on him. The only thing I can think is he lost with the Browns. He lost his first year with the Pats. Brady comes in. They have 20 glorious years, and now the last few years he's losing again. Is it possible that Browns caught Belichick before he really figured out coaching? Then he had this beautiful streak with Brady, and now he's just at the point where he doesn't have it anymore. He's just lost it with every coach with age. It's kind of like if you start getting in shape the same time that you get a new job, okay? Like you're getting in shape and you got a new job at the same time, and a few months in, you realize, man, I just feel better. Everything feels better. I'm happier. I have more energy. Is it the new job? Or is it because you were getting in shape? You're never going to know because they happened at the same time, right? Brady and Belichick both got into their primes as player and coach at the same time. I'm just going to say, devil's advocate, that they were inseparable. They won 6 together.
No, that's not true.
Together.
So check this out. All right.
We got to move on. We're about to be 20 minutes of Belichick right now.
One last one. So, all right, let's take your point. All right, you get this coach. He's doing well. They're winning Super Bowls. And they got into a season where they went almost undefeated season, went to the Super Bowl. So how do you go from undefeated season and then the next year you do not make the playoffs only because Brady was hurt?
Yeah, but they went 11-5. They were 11-5 with Matt Castle.
No, it doesn't matter. The point is they went from undefeated to not making the Super Bowl at all.
Not making the playoffs. Yeah, like, if you lose your starting quarterback, every team's going to have a drop off. If it's a all-pro Super Bowl winning quarterback,
they had Walker. They had the what's his name? Falk, whatever his name, Falk. They had
those are not game-breaking players.
They had everybody, and you couldn't make the Super Bowl. I mean, the playoffs, not the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna give you my 1 minute of shine. Here we go. My 1 minute of shine is my Tennessee Titans took down the Miami Dolphins in the game last night, the double Monday night game. And the one stat I just got to talk about because this is incredible. They were the first team since 2016, so 7 seasons of NFL football, to win a game after being down 14 with 3 minutes left in the game. And it proved Will Levis belongs in the NFL. It proved DeAndre Hopkins still has it. And to me, it proved Mike Vrabel is one of the greatest head coaches in the NFL. It was a masterclass in coaching the last few minutes of that fourth quarter when it looked like we were imploding, self-destructing. So I'm wearing my Eddie George throwback jersey, baby. I'm so happy about that Titans game. I will take my victories where I can.
My 1 minute of shine is Tommy DeVito, baby.
Oh
Tommy DeVito. What if I were to tell you that a team that went to the playoffs last year, won a game, and then paid their quarterback $40 million, won 3 games in a row, you would say, dang, that quarterback must be good. I'm here to tell you that quarterback broke his leg and he isn't even playing. And we're winning with Tommy DeVito, the Italian mobster who broke Daniel Jones's leg so he could get the starting job. I just want to remind our listeners that the NFL is entertainment. And the DeVito family, that agent is like a cartoon. Like,
Crazy.
He's sitting there in the stands in the cold with a hat, with a suit, kissing the family. And I heard he even bought a flip phone to embrace this image. He probably threw it in the trash after the game because it's a burner phone. But, when you're rooting for a team that's not going anywhere during the game, yes, I'm rooting for them to win. But if they lose, I'm okay with that because we're not going anywhere. But they've been winning 3 in a row. And it's like, you're excited when they do a good play, when they get an interception, when they score a touchdown, you're like, yes. And then when they win, you're like, yes. But then when you realize after the game, oh, we're still not going anywhere, you're like, dang, even when we win, we lose.
Right.
And that's what stinks about being a football fan. But we got Tommy DeVito, the Jeremy Lin of the NFL. That's what this is. All right. So anyways, we have a fun episode. Our 1 minute of shine, which should have been only about 5 minutes total. It took about 12. But hey, you love us, so that's why we're here. We have a great episode for you yet again. Injury roundup. Again, heartbreaker. Some big names on our injury roundup today. Biggest takeaways from week 14. Week 15 player to note. What we're going to do is instead of a ranking, we have a little remix to that, a little twist for you guys. And then we're going to finish out our episode with the single game mock. Will, take us away, man. Injury roundup.
Okay, so there's a couple that are kind of day-to-day, week-to-week situations. I'll tell you all the big one that we know about at the end. So Justin Jefferson, I'm so sorry to the fantasy managers. If you were on the bubble, on the playoff bubble in your league, and JJ's coming back and you're thinking, this is it, this is what I need to get that win and get in the playoffs, everyone was sorely disappointed, goes out with the chest injury, put up 5-6 fantasy points before that happened. It looks like he's going to be okay. He's day-to-day, questionable to play this Sunday. Then we've got Tyreek Hill. Looked like what was a terrible ankle injury. He got kind of rolled up on in the game last night against the Titans, but he came back in and played. They're saying day-to-day. He hopefully has a chance to play coming up in week 15. And then Aaron Jones continues to battle that knee injury. He could not play last night. He's probably week to week at this point. And of course, the biggest one for the LA Chargers, Justin Herbert, broken finger, the index finger on his throwing hand. He's going to have season-ending surgery. So he's out. And obviously for all the Chargers skill players, that's a huge knock against them going into the fantasy playoffs. If you had Allen or Eckler, that's going to hurt your chances, unfortunately. Guys, any thoughts about those injuries?
The Herbert injury is huge. All right. I mean, if you're relying on him in the playoffs, in the fantasy playoff, that's a big hurt for you, right? And when you were talking, I was thinking anybody that has Tyreek Hill on their team is probably in their playoffs. Tyreek Hill has carried individual teams to the playoffs because I have him in one of my leagues, and I think I'm like the 1 or 2 seed. And Tyreek Hill carried me to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm in a league where I have him, and literally the rest of my roster pretty much got injured, and I'm in the playoffs. So, the Herbert one is crazy. I mean, what's happening to quarterbacks right now?
It's
is
wild.
nuts.
This is the worst year that we've ever seen as far as starting quarterbacks,
I
right?
mean,
It's
what's
got to
nuts?
be
It's
the
like
worst.
Herbert's down, Burrow's down, Fields missed time, Rodgers is down, Cousins is down, Mahomes is
Anthony
playing.
Richardson, Deshaun
Richardson
Watson.
is down. Yeah, I
It's
mean, Mahomes is
crazy.
having a down year. Like it's, not, but I think even the Justin Jefferson one, it's crazy. Like injuries are going to happen, but if you were to look at like the preseason ADPs, like Justin Jefferson was number 1, and I mean, you can't hate on the guy for being injured. Jamar Chase was number 2, and it's like he hasn't performed to that level. Cooper Kupp was a first round pick in many drafts. He hasn't performed to that level. Like Eckler was he hasn't performed. Like these injuries this year. I mean, golly, you to win your league this year, you had to have struck gold in the middle rounds, or
Right.
scoured the waiver wire. I mean,
It,
that's ultimately what it is.
Well,
it,
that's what. Go ahead, Ola.
oh no, the injuries are not surprising. It's just I think in the league now they're just very reckless the way they play. Like you have court like yesterday, right? Will Levis, he was he tackled a defensive lineman in the end zone. Like you could have died.
Yeah,
Like
that
what was
was so dumb.
Yeah, but
So
that's just a
dumb.
rookie being a rook. That's just
no, but that's the thing. That's how they've been playing. Most quarterbacks have been playing that same way. Like they try to like make the one play instead of saying, okay, you can live for another play, but they try to extend, that's what got what's his name? Trevor Lawrence hurt. He was trying to make a play, extend it, and then his leg got rolled on. Like sometimes, even Tyreek Hill,
No, his offensive
no.
tackle fell on him.
I
That was a
know
normal
because
routine.
the ball, he could have downed the ball and live another day.
No, man. That one was different. It was like 2 seconds after the snap. It was blindside hit.
We're just gonna keep seeing quarterbacks fall. Like Tyreek Hill yesterday, there was no need to try and get extra yard. The play was dead. He was trying to go for it more, and the guy had to try and bring him down somehow. So I just feel like there's several ways to play the game. A lot of people, even Tor, he was literally trying to kill his receivers yesterday, throwing it into where they can get decapitated. I was like, what's wrong with this guy? I don't know if
Well,
he got
Tyreek, that should have been a horse collar tackle because he tackled him from the back of the jersey, and that's why he got bent back. So they should have thrown a horse collar flag on that, but they missed
But
it.
that doesn't change the fact that he's still injured.
I don't know, man. I mean, you could say what you want about what happened to Trevor Lawrence, but I mean, what happened to Rodgers,
No, right,
Cousins,
right.
Burrow? Like these guys, that wasn't because of anything they did. Like that's
No,
just like what?
Rogers for sure was something he did for sure.
He
He
didn't do anything.
In the 5 seconds he played?
guys, go watch it again. You can watch it while we're on air. The play he was trying to make a play within it's just 5 seconds of the game. Let it go and go for another play. He was trying to evade tackle and run, and the guy said, "No, okay,
No,
no,
it was these.
watch it again.
So 98% of injuries are like freak accidents. It's
Not,
not.
not
It's not
all,
because of
not
trying
all
to do
guys.
too much.
I promise you, watch it again and see. But anyway, that's it.
Olu's watching different tape. Well,
No,
let's
no,
let's
watch it again, guys. Watch it again.
let's move on. Let's move on. Segment the biggest takeaway from week, what is it, 14? Week 14. Biggest takeaway. Shed, you're up first, man.
Well, speaking of which, you were talking about earlier, Matt, about guys who haven't lived up to the draft position. So low key, I'm gonna go the other way. Low key, DJ Moore is good. I had DJ Moore as one of the players who were getting drafted too low at the beginning of the year, and I think he's really outperforming where he was drafted. DJ Moore, he's kind of like your Frank Gore and like your James Conner for wide receivers, right? They always go late in the draft, fantasy draft, but every year in whatever situation, they always seem to produce. And prior to this year, DJ Moore had finished the last 4 seasons with at least 60 catches and 800 yards and at least 4 touchdowns, 1,100 yards in 3 out of 4 seasons, right? And keep in mind, he was working with quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield, like a Sam Darnold, like a Tyler Heineke, a Kyle Allen, a broke down Cam. So he didn't have really good quarterback. But believe it or not, this year is looking to be probably his best year yet. And with a semi good quarterback in Fields, TBD on that. But DJ Moore is currently ranked wide receiver 7. He's 7th in yards and 6th and tied for 6th with touchdowns. So he's not like the best, but he produces. And at 5'11", he plays like he's 6'4" and seems to be quarterback proof. He's very interesting in that way.
Yeah, it's funny. I think we pretty much we did not believe in him mid-season. We were trashing him. We were like, "There's no way he keeps this up."
Wait, but who believed in him? Who was the one person?
Mitch Renshaw was the one person.
Yeah, starting him week after week.
This guy right here. I told you guys about him. Remember we had that debate that morning? And I told you he was top 5 or top 10?
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a hard time jumping on the bandwagon with Fields, but his talent he's good. He's a good receiver. And here's the thing. I think he could finish in the top 10, but at the same time, I'm also not putting in the top 10 at this point Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, guys who should be in there, but aren't in there because of injury. Cooper Kupp. So I'm not putting those guys in, but I'm sliding in now other guys who are in the top 15. So
based historically on the stats, he's probably a 15 to 20 guy year in, year out. But this year with the injuries to wide receivers, it kind of boosted him up a little bit.
If Rodgers never got hurt, I'd have put Garrett Wilson in there.
Oh, absolutely.
Personally.
Absolutely.
So funny, guys, about what you just said. You said Cooper Kupp. I think the outlier year Cooper Kupp had really skewed how people look at Cooper Kupp. Because if you look at his overall stats, that one year is such an outlier. Cooper Kupp is not a top 10 receiver based on his previous stats and this year.
No, I think you're right. I don't think talent-wise he is, but even for an outlier year, he accomplished something that only, 3 other men in history have ever accomplished? That's not like, oops, I accidentally got a triple crown. Like, that, and a Super Bowl MVP in the same year. Like, that's serious. You've got to be better than average to accomplish that. Like, the last time we saw a triple crown winner, I think it was Steve Smith got a triple crown in, 2005.
I'll just say
even then, he tied for touchdown.
Yeah, I'll just say to Olu's point, I think there's a lot of truth to that. It's a little bit similar to Michael Thomas when he broke the single season reception record, and he rode that wave for like the next 3 seasons as far as his reputation, but he never came close to that. And he actually was not really a top 8, 10, 12 fantasy receiver ever again. But that one season lives in, the history books. And so he kind of got to ride that wave for several years. And Kupp's similar. I mean, obviously he's had injuries the last 2 years, and basically they shut him down last year when they were out of playoff contention. But yeah, he's still riding that wave for sure. And obviously the last 2 years has not lived up to it as far as fantasy numbers go.
That's not who he is. That's not who he is at all.
It was a career year for sure. It'll never be repeated. No doubt about that. Olu, what's your thing though?
Okay, so mine is Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson had a great game. But I think what was so astonishing about that is because I remember when he was coming out of college. I remember watching his games, and I remember watching highlights in his games from BYU. And I mean, he was like poetry while playing, rolling out of pockets, throwing sidearm. I mean, I was impressed, but I wasn't because, to be honest, he had no pressure on him. So he was just doing this with air. There was zero pressure. But nonetheless, he was doing it. I felt like Sunday is the closest we've seen a resemblance of what he was in college. He felt very at ease. He was playing freely. He was rolling, side arming. And I was like, that's the guy I saw in college. And he completed 75% of his passes. That's pretty high. He passed for 301 yards and 2 TD with a quarterback rating of 117.9. So it's. I think it was really great for him to be able to get in a rhythm of where he really resembled why he was drafted second overall. Is he going to keep it up in the future? I don't know. Like I would love to see that because that's always good for the league. But it will be interesting to see if he can actually keep it up. He really showed what he was drafted in the number 2 overall, and he deserved to get a shine. So yeah,
Yeah, he has always had those moments. Like even his rookie year, he had moments where on the screen he popped and you could see the arm strength. You could see why he had that draft profile and he got taken second overall. I think the problem is he's just never able to put it together for a string of even 2-3 games, let alone over the course of a season. So
yeah,
it was a great performance for sure. It was amazing to see him do something with all the kind of crazy drama the Jets have had. But he's just never been able to do that for even a few games in a row. And that's why his ceiling is where it is. And I I don't think the Jets are going to extend him right after the rookie contract runs out. And I don't see him getting a starting contract anywhere else.
No,
it's
no.
just so hard. Like I if he was drafted later and not number 2 overall, I think people would have like to think that the Jets took Zach Wilson over Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Patrick Surtain. Like
Yeah.
they took Zach Wilson. They took a guy who's been benched a few different times. Like you can't be the number 2 overall pick and get benched. Like that's just so bad, dude. But I mean, it's because he was number 2 that we're so hard on him because there's an expectation you've got to meet if you're the number 2 overall pick. But it's like I don't know. I just don't. I don't want any piece of Zach Wilson. I don't want him on my fantasy team. I don't want him on my favorite NFL team. I'm just like I'll pass. I'll pass.
I've
who do you think is better, Danny Jones or Zach Wilson?
Oh man.
That's not without a question, Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. Daniel
Yeah,
Jones.
he was able to put it together for a whole season at least. So
Daniel Jones
that's
went
the
to a
difference.
playoff game and won. Zach Wilson can't make it through a season without getting benched. Like, it's pretty obvious.
Zach Wilson's career as of last week, he has 23 touchdowns, 25 interceptions. Career. So 2021, 2022, 2020. He's had 9 touchdowns. What is it? 6 touchdowns and 8 touchdowns this year. No, I don't want no part of Zach Wilson. We've seen by the end of the first year, you should see something consistent with a quarterback that
The
should
first
give you
year,
hope. If they start that year, by the end of the first year, you should see something. Yeah, something consistent.
Quarterbacks that
You should see
have
improvement.
right. Like obviously a lot of quarterbacks who went on to be successful had rough rookie years, but the
yes.
team saw enough in that rookie season still to not bench them. Like Peyton Manning did not have a good rookie year, but he never got benched.
Have we
Right?
seen have we
That's the
seen
difference.
anything from Bryce Young?
Who?
Bryce.
So I don't know how he's going to be in his career, Bryce Young, but he's also in maybe the worst possible situation you could imagine for an NFL team. The owner,
Oh, his
the
situation's
owner is
terrible.
all over the place. Fired the coach
Coach
halfway
gets fired
through.
in the midseason. Yeah,
He has no blocking and no talented skill players. Like no skill players that you would even want on your fantasy team right now. So I think that's what hurts him. Can I give you guys my takeaway here?
Let's keep it moving. Go for it.
I have to do this. I have to do this for our Instagram listeners after my take on Brock Purdy last week. So I'm going to give a little update on my MVP thinking, my MVP rankings. So Tua, Jalen Hurts, and CJ Stroud are out because we just saw from them what happens when the game plan falls apart or when they don't have all their skill players there. They're out of the conversation. As far as quarterbacks go, it is between Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott. My argument still, though, is I do not think a quarterback can win it this year because of what we're seeing from Tyreek Hill. When he went out of the game last night against the Titans, the Dolphins' offense sputtered. They could not move the ball. They couldn't put a drive together. He came back in at maybe, 70% health? And all of a sudden, the Dolphins are back in the game. They're moving the ball. On one drive, he had 2 catches for like 48 yards on that drive. He accounted for 80% of their yards on that drive. Tyreek Hill's the MVP. So that's my take. What Brock and what Dak are doing, it's impressive. They also have ideal situations, offensive line, skill position players, good play calling. Don't give it to a quarterback this year. Please give it to Tyreek.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. Tyreek is the MVP. He's the one player playing at an elite position, elite game play amongst all skill positions.
He
Dak and Purdy,
changes the whole game.
Dak and Purdy having good year, but if we're going to compare that to the previous MVP, the Mahomes MVP, the Brady MVP, the Rodgers MVP, it doesn't come close. What they're doing, it's pedestrian. What they're doing is pedestrian. However, this year they just because of the gameplay of the quarterback play of this year, they are at the cream of the crop. But then that's in quotations. So I do agree with you. Also, I would like to highlight and say this for like we said, Strauss is not the MVP race. So now we beg the question that we talk about often: did Strauss make Tank Dell?
Oh my gosh.
We're not talking about
No,
that.
no,
All
no.
I'm saying, it's the MVP race has to be. The MVP race has to be Dak, Tyreek, and CMC. Like,
not Purdy. You take Purdy out.
No, Purdy's in there. Purdy's in there.
No, he's in there.
He and Dak
He's
are
not
the
in
top
there.
2 quarterbacks, like far and
Sorry,
away.
not CMC. No, we're gonna cut that off. Not CMC.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go into mine. My biggest takeaway, guys, the LA Chargers stink.
Yeah, it's depressing, terrible.
If you go back and check the tape, come week 3, week 4, week 5, I was praising the Chargers. I was like, get all of them in your lineup. Get Herbert, get Eckler, get Allen, get all of them. These jokers have been so bad.
Yeah.
How bad are they? They scored 7 points last week, 6 points the week before that, and 10 points the week before that. They are the 7th. They have the 7th fewest rush yards this season. I hate to say that for all of our Austin Eckler owners. I'm one of them.
Awful.
Drafted him number 3 overall, I believe, in a draft.
That hurts.
Oh, bro, it hurts. In that draft, it went Jefferson, CMC, and then I took Eckler. They have scored, just like I said, a total of what? Do the math. 23 points over the last 3 weeks.
Sheesh.
And they just lost Justin Herbert. So now, is Justin Herbert an elite quarterback? We don't think so. We've reached the consensus over here. He's good, but he's not elite.
No.
As a passing offense, they were doing well, but they couldn't run the ball, and now they lose their quarterback. Things are looking bad for them. I don't believe in them. I'm still going to play Keenan Allen, but now I'm hesitant with Austin Eckler. Do we continue to play this man? He hasn't rushed for more than 61 yards since week 1.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. Oh, wait, I take that back. He rushed for 64 in week 11 and 67 in week 10.
Okay.
Other than that, he hasn't rushed for more than that since week 1. And what made him so special was how many times it's catching the ball, but then also how many times he get in the end zone.
Right.
They can't move down the field. The Chargers just are not a special team right now. There's no magic. They can't get it. They can't score points. They're done. I think they're done. Olu, what do you have to say about it, man?
Okay, so they're done, but I have one person to blame, and that's Justin Herbert. So this is what I like in Justin Herbert too. So Justin Herbert is like, like a Hollywood movie, right? A Hollywood sports movie, and you need to get a main actor who plays the sports. For example, Above the Rim. So
Tupac.
Right, Above the Rim. So Dwayne Martin was casted for that role. So the reason why I was casted for that role, number one, he looks the part, and he played Division II basketball. He got some handles on him and everything. That's Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, it looks like a pretty actor that is made for an NFL movie. his skill set is not quite. He has some skill set in him, but it's not quite functional for a real NFL football team. He's pretty balls. He's pretty, but he doesn't have the dog, and he's not. And the team will always feed off of his energy as the
Yes,
leader.
pretty what?
Just keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Interesting phrasing.
That's a wide take.
Oh, that's a pause. Anyway, so I feel like the team feeds off of Justin's skill set. He looks good. He looks the part. He his skill set. He can go to combine, throw nice balls and everything. Ultimately, when the money, forget the money on the table. He's just not a dog at all. He's not even a puppy. Like he's just sorry, no offense. I don't mean to offend anybody. Justin Herbert, if you're watching this, I don't mean to offend you. But at the end of the day,
he's not.
He has plenty of time now. He just may.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I do feel like Justin, he doesn't have that dog in him. Like he has too much skill set not to have that heart, that thing that beats in your heart, the warrior spirit. He doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's Olu's rant.
That is.
I mean, Will, did you want to say something on
let
that
me
briefly?
just-
Because we do need to move on.
Very brief. I just want to give you guys this incredible statistic that sums up the whole existence of the Chargers franchise. The 2010 season, at the time San Diego Chargers had the number one scoring offense in the NFL and the number one scoring defense in the NFL. They finished 9-7 and missed the playoffs because their special teams were so bad. That was the 2010 season for the Chargers. You got to look this up. They finished 9-7 and missed the playoffs with the number one offense and number one defense in the NFL.
Wait. No. That wasn't the year they missed. I thought that was like 2006.
No, 2000. I literally just looked this up. 2010, they finished 9-7 and did not qualify for the playoffs. Absurd. And that is the Chargers.
You cannot have the number one offense, number one defense, and be 9-7 and blame the special team. Come on, guys.
Olu. Yes, read about it. Read about this.
You cannot have the number one offense, number one defense. There's some defect in that metric. There's something we're not looking at. You can't
finish 9-7 and miss the playoffs. You got to look this up. It's absurd.
The 2010 Chargers are noted for having both the number one ranked offense and defense, the first team to do so since the 1996 Green Bay Packers.
And finished 9-7 and out of the playoffs. Yes.
Out of the playoffs.
Yes.
Wow.
They're cursed. They are cursed.
Second in their division.
Yeah, but didn't make the playoffs.
Wait,
didn't get a wild card.
Number one offense, number one defense.
Correct.
And you're 9-7.
Correct.
So the struggling special teams unit would help cause the Chargers to lose 5 of their first 7 games.
Special teams. They lost 5 of the first 7 because of special teams. Yes.
Each of which was by 1 possession margin. How in the world?
They lost all the close games. That's how that statistic can exist.
The math is not mathing, guys.
I know. I'm telling you, they're cursed because that should never happen. It makes no sense. The Chargers as a franchise are just cursed. And I'm sorry, Justin Herbert, that's where you landed. I know we got to move on. I just had to quote that stat. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, let's talk about. Wow, that just
it broke your brain.
Broke the internet. Segment 3. We're only on segment 3 and we're 40 minutes in, guys. Player to note for week 15. Shed, let's try to run through these relatively quick. Who's your player to note for week 15?
So my player to note here is, listen up, guys. Stephon Diggs will not have a good game this week against the Cowboys.
We've been saying that for weeks.
And it's been true. It's been true,
right. Because here's the thing. Because the Bills are playing the Cowboys, which is an elite defense. Diggs' last 3 out of 4 games versus good defenses, Denver, New York Jets, Kansas City, he's averaged only 28 yards and 0 touchdowns in those 3 games. So he hasn't been playing well as of late. Josh Allen is going to throw picks, as we all know. Dallas defense will create pressure on Josh Allen, and Diggs will not. And Diggs, he's going to have his handful with either Deron Bland or Stephon Gilmore. I don't know if it's contract issues, issue with the team, personal issues, whatever it is. Diggs has not been playing well lately and he struggles. He struggles against just good and elite defenses. I know it's the first week of playoffs and you're tempted to play him, but if there's someone else is there, I consider starting them over Diggs because he's playing a good defense, and based on history, he won't have good numbers this week.
So week one of the fantasy playoffs, you're saying start someone over Diggs.
If you have somebody else, yes. I mean, if Diggs your only guy, you have to go with him. But if you have an okay guy on the bench, consider him over Diggs. Because we all know Josh Allen is going to throw picks, right? One or two, guaranteed.
We forgot to note that fantasy playoffs start this week for the majority of leagues. And to our listeners, we hope that we've helped you get into your playoffs. I know personally for me, I am in 3 of 4 playoffs, and my last league is actually a 14 playoff. So we have one more. If I win, I'm in. But anyways, we hope that you're in your playoffs, but this is it. You don't want to make any mistakes here. Shed is being bold and saying, sit Stephon Diggs. If you listen to Shed and he goes off this week, come break his legs like Tommy DeVito's agent did.
That's right. The mob.
Olu, go for it. Player to note.
So my player to avoid is Josh Allen. So consequently, I mean, in piggybacking what Shed just said, I do feel like this is such a tough matchup for the Bills. It's extremely tough matchup. Josh Allen. I mean, we just talked about Justin Herbert. Just Allen, he does have the dog in him. He does have the fight in him, but he's a bit reckless with the ball. Pause. he's a bit reckless. He will throw you, okay, on a good day, on a regular team, a regular defense, he will throw at least 1 pick. Against the Cowboy, I can see 4 picks easily.
Oh,
he
wow.
throw 4 picks easily because he's playing a really tough defense. So that means he's gonna put it all on the line. He doesn't care. He's going to put it all on the line. And when you put it all on the line, the Cowboys, they strip balls, number 1. Number 2, they pick them. They pick the balls. Like they get their picks. So I feel like this is not a good matchup for him. If you could sit him down, I know it's the playoffs, but this would not be a good night for them. Michael Parsons is going to have a really, really good day because Michael Parsons is going to have a really good day. Josh Allen is going to want to play hero ball. And guess what? Michael Parsons is doomsday. He's going to shut Superman down all day long.
I love that.
Yeah, but I agree. So here's my issue with that. That's Josh Allen's game. Josh Allen has thrown at least 1 interception in every single game except for 2 of them all year.
But for fantasy,
yet he is the number 1 fantasy quarterback because of his ability to throw touchdowns and run for touchdowns. So in a game like against the Dallas Cowboys,
it's not going to work. It's not going to
end up seeing a good. I mean, if the Bills fall behind, though, it's a negative game script.
How was he in week 1?
Excuse me?
Week 1, how was he?
Who? Josh Allen?
Yeah.
He wasn't good. It was his worst game of the season.
Yeah, that's
against the Jets.
Again. And why was it the worst game of the season? Because they were playing a top 5 defense. It's going to
but then he came back against the Jets in week 11 and threw 3 touchdowns and 1 pick.
That's fine. But what I'm telling you is it's not going to happen this year. I mean, it's not going to happen in this game. This is probably one of the worst matchups they can ever face is this game. Number 1, if you're trying to throw the ball, who are you throwing the ball to? Who is he throwing it to?
Diggs all day. Well, yes, we know. Or James Cook or Kincaid now.
You know who's going to cover Diggs 1-on-1 all game long? Stephon Gilmore, who's already feeling himself right now. So, and guess what? Gilmore and Diggs is having a down year, just so you know. And then we have Bland, who could just pluck the ball out the air. So I think I don't think this is a good matchup. You could start him, but I will come back the next week and say I told you so.
So Olu, I was kind of riding that train too on Josh Allen until I looked at his stats, his fantasy numbers, and I mean, even when he plays bad, he plays bad quarterback, but he still gets you fantasy numbers. So that's why I was hesitant to say Josh Allen, but I'm following you there, right? Because like against the Cowboys, you said 4 interceptions. I mean, I can see I can see that
Really,
against this team.
really.
I can see that. That's why I think that's going to limit their
Maybe not
offense.
just turnovers. Okay, let me put it this way: 4 turnovers. Easily.
Turnovers, sure.
Okay. Mine is very quick. I'm going to say start Rashad White with confidence this week. And here's why. Let me just give you some facts. He started off this year not very efficient running the ball, but he made up for it with receptions, receiving yards. He's been a top 6, 7 fantasy running back in PPR this whole year. But this week they're playing against the Packers, who just got thrashed by Saquon Barkley and the Giants offense led by Tommy DeVito, as we've established. But Rashad White also the last few weeks, he's had 2 100-yard rushing games in the last 3 games. And last week against the Falcons, he had a touchdown through the air. And so he's got a safe floor because of the receptions, his scoring ability, and now he's got a very high ceiling against that Packers defense that is easily beatable. So if you're in the playoffs with Rashad White on your roster, start him with confidence in week 15, week 1 of the fantasy playoffs.
Ooh. Hot take. Yeah, Rashad White's been good. So, my take, I'm going to switch it up on you guys. Initially, I came into this, and I was going to say start Drake London. Drake London is coming off a career day. He caught 10 of 11 balls for 170 yards. Somehow, he ran almost across the entire football field twice, but didn't get in the end zone. Olu would think that that's a bad day. However, I think it's great. But the reason why I'm not going to say... So, Drake London, they're playing against Carolina. Carolina stinks. But what's interesting is... so, Drake London this past week, 10 catches, 170 yards. The week before that, 1 catch, 8 yards. The week before that, 5 catches, 91 yards. The week before that, 3 catches, 36. So, you're seeing Drake London go
up
like
and
this.
down.
Okay? So... if this trend continues, which I think is ridiculous, he's going to have a bad game against Carolina. I'm not going to say start Drake London because the man is like Bitcoin. He's volatile. What I am going to say, the guy who I am going to say is a guy that I'm actually starting in the fantasy playoffs is, what is his name? Jake Browning. That's who I'm starting.
Oh,
Jake Browning. Okay.
Yes. And here's why, guys. I mean, the man has stepped in for Joe Burrow and has balled, okay? Last week, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for 1. The week before that, 354 yards and a touchdown. He also rushed for the 1. And this week, he has a favorable matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. I am playing Jake Browning. If you were lucky enough to pick him up because you had injuries somewhere else, you can start him with confidence. If you lost Herbert but you got Browning, you're in luck. Because if Herbert was healthy, Browning would probably outperform him anyways. Okay? So I'm saying start Jake Browning and start him with confidence against the Minnesota Vikings. Last couple weeks, he's been a top 5 quarterback in fantasy football. Jake Browning. Who had this guy on any ranking list at the beginning of the season? But he's doing it. Jake Browning. Start him.
that's yes, it makes sense and everything adds up, but that's dangerous. Going into playoffs, starting Jake Browning, one and done, you're out. That's a risk take. But he's been producing, right? I mean, he's
solid.
been he's pretty solid. But when you're like a regular season game, fine. But when you're in a playoff, money's on the line.
Hey, man. Scared money don't make no money.
But it's because of all the quarterback injuries, right? Because now you're looking at, like, if you had one of those guys who's out for the season, and you're looking at Jake Browning versus Baker Mayfield, as far as the guys who are on your bench, you're going with Browning, right? Or Jake. How about Jake Browning or C.J. Stroud?
Bro, listen.
That's a tough one. That should not be a tough debate, but that is now.
100% over Stroud. Stroud has a concussion. And lost Tank Bell. 100%.
He has a concussion though.
Yeah,
I would start
that's
Brown.
true. So he may not play. He may not play.
Some of the guys who are quote unquote really top-rated fantasy quarterbacks right now, yes, I would start him over Stroud. I would start him over Sam Howell. I would start him over Jordan Love. I would start him over Jared Goff. I'd start him over these guys. He's balling.
Goff has fallen off, huh? He fell
Goff
off
has
hard.
fallen off.
No, Goff hasn't fallen off. That's Goff for you, right? I mean, Goff has that peak, and then he'll come back down to earth. Like I feel like that's Goff.
Guess
I'm playing him over Stafford, playing him over Jordan Love. I'm going Jake Browning right now. Listen, there's a couple guys who are like, okay, even if they're not doing well, you still start him. Mahomes, you still start him. Like Jake Browning is balling right now. I'm rolling. Give me some Brownie, baby. I'm rolling with Jake Browning for the fantasy playoffs. Yeah. I'm starting him. Start him with confidence. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's move on. Okay, so over the last, month and a half or so, we've been rolling out rankings. We re-ranked the rookie class. We gave midseason rankings for all our top 10 quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. We came in prepared. We dropped our ranking list. You heard it. You commented. And today, we're going to do something a little fun. You can make fun of us if you want, but please don't be too harsh because these are blind rankings. What we're going to do is I have a list of guys. We're going to have a blind rank of top 5 players, and I'm going to ask each of our 4 Wide Fantasy Football podcasters to blind rank certain players from positions without knowing who comes next, okay? So I have 5 names, and we're going to go ahead and go at this, and we are going to laugh at each other because no matter how you slice it up, it's going to be bad, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go with quarterbacks first. I think that's the list that I have here. Running backs. We're going to go with running backs first. So running backs, who's going to take running backs? Is that you?
I'll do it.
Will?
I'll do running backs.
William Carlos Lambert.
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Will, blind rank these running backs without knowing who comes next. Okay? Top 5. Number 1, Travis Etienne.
Oh my gosh. You're gonna give me some terrible running backs. So I'm gonna put Etienne at 3.
This is the rest of the way, okay? For fantasy playoffs. Okay.
Put him
Travis Etienne number
3.
Najee Harris.
4.
Ooh. Okay, the next one I have is Chuba Hubbard.
5.
The next one I have is Christian McCaffrey.
1.
Oh.
And the last one I have is Raheem Mostert.
2. I got it.
Oh, ding.
That's it.
So Will got Christian McCaffrey,
yes.
Raheem Mostert, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, and then Chuba Hubbard.
The only debate is 4 and 5, right? Between Najee and Chuba, honestly. That's the one that could really go either way, but yeah.
Bro,
we got it.
Killed that.
We got it.
So Will's doing good. Okay, let's go to quarterbacks next. Who's that one? Who's got quarterbacks?
I got it.
Shed.
All right, you got quarterbacks? Okay, here we go. Number 1, Shed, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to be easy. Number 1, Jake Browning.
4.
Oh, that's
number
low.
2, Lamar Jackson.
2.
Okay. Number 3, Jared Goff.
5.
Number 4, Matthew Stafford.
3.
And then lastly, Josh Allen. So the last one you have left is 1.
Yeah.
So you have Josh Allen, Lamar, Jared Goff, Jake Browning, and then Matthew Stafford.
That's pretty good.
I had Stafford at 3.
You had Stafford at 3.
Goff at 5.
And Goff at 5. That's not too bad, man.
Right? I mean,
that's not bad. You got the first 2 easy. The first 2 are correct. No question.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Who's the one you would have switched, Olu? Who would you have had different?
I probably would have had Goff ahead of Stafford. Stafford 5, Goff 3.
And Browning at 4?
Yeah. He's balling.
Yeah, that's 3,
Yeah.
4, and 5. Depending on your like and the time of the day, right? You can kind
To
of.
be honest, though, it's so funny. Golf and Stafford are literally interchangeable.
Here we go. Last one. Receivers. Olu, you got receivers. Number 1. Here we go. So blind rank these receivers without knowing who comes next. Okay? First up, George Pickens.
Wow.
That's your guy.
Already.
Next.
Last.
That's a bold move for number 1 because you don't know who's coming next. Okay? How about this one? Rashee Rice.
3.
Oof. Okay. Next, we have DJ Moore.
Oh. Wow. Okay, I guess 4.
You just put
What?
Rashee Rice at 3 and then DJ Moore at 4.
You have him.
Okay.
I have no choice. I'm not going to put him 2.
Okay. Next up, you have Tyreek Hill.
Oh, come on now. Next one.
And then lastly, at number 2, I have on my list, Juju Smith-Schuster. So,
Yeah. Second best receiver on the list.
Olu's list is Tyreek Hill, Juju Smith-Schuster, Rashee Rice, DJ Moore, and then George Pickens. I think Will has the best list and Olu has the worst.
Olu, what happened to DJ Moore? You love DJ Moore. Put him at 2. Put him at number 2.
Your turn, tight end.
What? Did you really make one? Did you really make a list
No,
already?
I'm throwing it out there.
I got one
No, 'cause
for
if
you, Matt.
no.
I got one for you, Matt. Predetermined.
You have it predetermined because
I have
you
it.
if
I have
you
the 5.
If you don't have it predetermined, you'll manipulate it.
No, I have the 5 in my head right now. I'm not going to change him.
You can't change this order.
Can't change
All right,
him.
go for it.
Kyle Pitts.
4.
George
Kyle
Kittle.
Pitts at 4.
Easy.
Let's go at 2.
Of course.
Sam Laporta.
We'll go at
Ooh.
1 for Laporta.
Ooh.
Gerald Everett.
5.
TJ Hawkinson.
Ooh.
That's 3. Dang. That was a tough list.
Tight end's hard
That was
though
a
because
tough list.
there's only 3 guys this year. I didn't even, actually
what?
4. I didn't include Kelsey.
It
Kelsey
doesn't
wasn't
matter.
I
on
would
the
stand,
list.
no. I would actually stand by that list because with Minnesota now starting Nick Mullins,
Hawkinson
I would
is
stand by
going to
that
take a
list.
step back,
No.
you think?
Yeah, you don't put Hawkinson on number 4.
No, I didn't put him at 4.
He was
I had
at
him at
3. Pitts was 4. Everett was 5. So you had Laporta, Kittle, Hawkinson, Pitts, Everett. That's believable.
You know what?
That's not bad.
Yes. That's not bad, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not. Maybe we'll revisit that game. Again.
Let's keep it moving. We're almost there.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. Okay, so last segment, guys. Last segment, listeners. Single game mock. Here we go. Single game mock. It's our 2-round snake draft. We draft players from the upcoming Thursday night football game. We've been doing this since week 2. And it is a tight race, but still, the king of Zamunda is in first place, Olu, with 351.9 points. After that, we have Shed Taylor, 345.2. I'm in third with 321.8, and Will is the last horse. I mean, there's got to be a fourth place
There's
finisher
still
of this. and
time. There's still time. I got
Will
3
has
weeks
scored
left.
Will has scored below 15 points in like 3 of the last 4 weeks.
Golly.
And I've scored above 40 in the last 2. All right, this week we have the LA Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. We are drafting only running backs, receivers, and tight ends. No quarterbacks, no kickers, no defense. Snake draft. Olu is drafting first, followed by Will, then myself and Shed, and then we'll snake back the other way. So Olu, you're up first, man.
Austin Eckers, let's go.
Still.
Really, all the trashing I did of the Chargers. and you're still
After his take.
Say it with your chest, boy. Austin Eckler. All right, Will, you're up.
All right, second pick, give me Josh Jacobs.
Oh.
That's a good pick for you.
I need something.
I'll go ahead and take the player that's going to score the most points from this game because that's what I've been doing the last few
Let me
points.
get training out.
Determined to finish this thing in first place. Give me Devontae Adams for my first pick.
Whoa.
Oh, he's been bad. He's been bad the
I made a
last
mistake.
3 weeks.
I made a big mistake.
Whoa. You guys are letting Shed get Keenan Allen? Oh my gosh.
Shed is gonna win the whole thing now.
So this is interesting. Keenan Allen, is it that bad? He falls to 4. How's that possible? Like, okay,
How is that possible? How did I let that happen?
so I thought you were going to take Keenan Allen, man. I thought you were. So let me go Keenan Allen, and then let me go on the other side with Jacoby Myers.
So what happened, guys, is in my head, I thought Adams would already be gone. So honestly, I wasn't listening to you guys.
Yeah,
I thought he was gonna be gone.
No, I'm going Jacobs because he had his best game of the season against the Chargers earlier this year, and Keenan Allen now with Easton Stick. Can Easton Stick deliver the ball to him? That's the question.
Why, guys? Why let Shed have Keenan Allen?
This
Come on, Olu.
this
I'm
has
coming
to
for
be
you.
this actually has to be the worst. Is this Thursday night game worse than last week? Last week was Steelers Pats because now we have Easton Stick against Aiden O'Connell. This has to be worse.
We had Bailey Zappi versus
Mitch Trubisky. Which is worse? But which of those is worse? Honestly,
yeah, I don't know who to take.
This one might be worse as far as the quarterbacks.
Like, this is a tough.
All right,
this is a really tough position right now. Let me go on record and say I do not believe in Quentin Johnston.
We know.
I believe he is an NFL bust. But I mean, look at the guy.
What has he shown us?
Of all the rookies, he probably landed in the best position. Yeah. And the season unfolded. I mean, Mike Williams got injured.
Right. He had a moment. He had his opportunity.
Josh Palmer missed time. He had every opportunity to step into a role and succeed.
He had 90 yards last week.
Yeah, he had 90 yards last week, and that's the first game he had over 52 yards. He's been terrible. He has been terrible.
Well, you know my
going to be then.
I give rookie receivers 1 year.
He has 29 catches and 333 yards on the season. That's terrible. All right.
That's 2 games from Tagdale.
And here's the best part about it. Those are his numbers, and he hasn't missed any time. All right, let's just go Quentin Johnston. I don't believe in him.
Okay.
But I have to. There's nobody else, y'all. Who am I going to take?
All right.
Josh Kelly?
Yes, give me Josh Kelly because they're splitting. Let me tell you why. They're splitting carries 50-50 going forward is what they've said. Give me Josh Kelly. Not a moment of hesitation.
That's bad for Eckler. Not looking good.
But they said that last week about Josh Kelly, and he got 3 carries.
Yeah, but now we've moved into the Easton Stick era. It's a new chapter in LA.
Give me Josh Palmer.
Is he healthy?
Playing?
Yes, he is.
Let Will give you some advice. Starting guys who don't play is not a good strategy.
Pop Douglas. I'm sorry, man. I didn't know about your situation.
So that concludes our single game mock. Olu is sitting with Austin Eckler and Josh Palmer. He believes in the Easton Stick offense. Will has Josh Jacobs and Joshua Kelly going with 2 running backs. I'm sitting with Devontae Adams and Quentin Johnson. And Shed has Keenan Allen and Jacoby Myers. So I think of all of us, Shed might be feeling the most confident.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens in this very exciting Thursday night football game. But thanks for stopping in with the 4 Wide Fantasy Football Podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll have another exciting episode for you next week as we recap Week 15 and give you a Week 16 preview. Good luck in the playoffs. Have a great one. Your host, Matt, Shed, Will, and Olu. See you later.
Peace.